right here on these courts. Not everyone remembers it, but in 2004, Marty Hogan was part of that, and I got the very great pleasure of seeing him for the first time, playing against him for the first time. Yeah, you won the match. It's okay, but you won our when you played. But since then, Marty is part of why World Outdoor Racquetball in South Florida is what it is.
Marty Hogan, induction to the Hall of Fame.
We wouldn't have got to national notoriety. We would still be small potatoes. Having Marty here early on in the tournament, along with Cliff, led the way for everybody else to go. It led the way for us to get sponsors. It led the way. We in South Florida racquetball owe a lot to Marty. Yeah! Yeah! So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Marty. Come on up here.
Marty Hogan now getting introduced by Vic.
Gary Price to do the actual induction.
Freddie Ramirez photobombing. Rocky Carson in attendance here this year. He'll be playing in the semis against Robert and Freddie.
They were inducted in California at the national championship. We announced it here, we gave them their credit here, but we had the actual induction speech in Huntington Beach. Marty requested this to be where he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. Yeah, Marty played over 25, 30 years on the tour. One of the guys he competed against is a gentleman named Jerry Price. Jerry Price was another one of these all-star stud indoor racquetball players from the heyday of indoor racquetball. Jerry's going to say a few words about Marty Hogan and induct him into the Hall of Fame. All right. Well, it's my pleasure to be here today. We're talking about one of my buddies. Marty has been a part of the game for 50 years. This is his 50th year being in racquetball. It's the very highest level, outdoor, indoor, which is amazing. It's a testament to how he takes care of himself, how he lives his life. He's able to compete at such a high level for 50 years now. His very first tournament, he played when he was 9 years old. He played against the name of someone known, Jerry Price, in 1967. That was Marty's first tournament. Marty had his first national match win at the first ever racquetball national in 1969 before losing a close second-round match to Gordon Kelly at only 11 years old. So Marty was there when everything was just getting going with racquetball, indoor and outdoor. In 1973, at age 15, he had his first major tournament win in Spokane, Washington. At the first Racquetball World Championships, he teamed up with Steve Keeley, and they defeated in the finals Charlie Brumfield and Carl Loveday, which were they were a very legendary team at the time. In 1974, Marty was the youngest player in the first outdoor national. Marty, in the open division, made it to the round of 16 before losing to the eventual champion, Charlie Brumfield.
That's Brumfield now.
Yeah. In the 1970s and 80s, Marty dominated the game of racquetball. He was simply awesome out there. He showed up to play every tournament. He was in great shape. He was ready to play week in and week out. And he was a guy that not only did I enjoy playing against, but I enjoyed watching because he let his emotions, out there. If he was happy, you would know it. If he wanted to be funny, you would know it. If he was mad, you would know it. So he was enjoyable because you knew how he was feeling on the court. It was a pleasure to play against him. It was a pleasure to watch him. He just made the game, the sport better. He, in the 70s and 80s, He won 11 pro national championship tournaments and was named Player of the Year and unmatched 8 times.
Yeah.
On the outdoor side, Marty has also 10 major outdoor national and world championship tournament wins, including the outdoor national singles, 8 outdoor world doubles, and outdoor U.S. Open double championships.
Wow.
Marty also has 2 of the most popular racquetball videos of all time. Power Racquetball for the indoor game, and then also another video, The Secrets of the Power Racquetball for the outdoor game. Today, Marty is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, Outdoor Hall of Fame. And he will be just one of 3 players that have been inducted into the Indoor Hall of Fame and Outdoor Hall of Fame. And he shares that great honor with Charlie Brumfield and Bud Muehlheiser. I just want to say to my friend, congratulations. Nobody deserves it more.
Marty Hogan getting inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, now.
If you ever met Marty, one of the nicest guys. Talk to you, have a conversation with you. Doesn't need to know who you are, doesn't need to know your skill level, doesn't care. He'll talk to you. Good guy. Here we go.
First of all, I'd like to thank Jerry coming all the way from San Francisco. First of all, Jerry has just been one of my favorite people in the history of my career. No better gentleman, no greater guy. Cliff Swain said it yesterday to me, pulled me aside. Jerry is 10 times nicer than you and I. And it is the certifiable truth. Another thing too, another milestone yesterday was Cliff's birthday at 50. Wow. 50 years old. You know what,
Cliff Swain turning 50 yesterday.
Passing away and stuff. But when I first got involved in the game, I was so young. You know, death and whatever that wasn't the situation. I was the youngest person. Cliff and I, we were talking today, over the weekend, that it has been 35 years since the first time I played him in a competition. 35 years. He was 17. I was, 20. 22. But it's amazing. And then Corey Breisman and then Jerry Price, who's from the original group. I started playing racquetball when I was 8. And I'm 15. So it seems like yesterday that, that we all started playing. But here we are now together again. It goes to show you the power of the sport. 35 years later, we're still here. And boy, you've all seen Cliff play. We can still play pretty good. Second, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee. And I want to state this. The Hall of Fame committee and picking people in the Hall of Fame have a big responsibility. Very big. That they should really take a lot of time and a lot of effort to really, really make this Hall of Fame a true Hall of Fame.
True.
The one thing that the Indoor Hall of Fame has done over the years that I thought has been bad, it's gone from the Hall of Fame to the Hall of the Very Average. In order to get in the Hall of Fame, not only do you have to have one particular aspect of being a great player and winning in titles, but there's also other aspects of Hall of Fame, and that's contributing, coming back to the game, supporting it. Yep. Because Nick, you said something. You said, I owe outdoor racquetball for coming out. And that's not the case. I owe racquetball everywhere. And I really, it's been my pleasure to come and play outdoor. So don't feel like outdoor racquetball owes me anything, because Lord knows I've benefited a whole lot in racquetball. there's two sides of my sport, of my career. One was the indoor. A lot of you probably know. I mean, I started playing when I was 8. Racquetball's enabled me to travel all over the world, all over the country, playing racquetball and seeing the country. It's also allowed me recognition. I know a lot of you remember when I was in the ABC Superstars competition on TV, which was a tremendous experience, incredible, competing against other athletes and whatever, and it was a great experience. And then there was the World Racket Championship that I competed on in CBS, in which I competed against McEnroe and Vilas and a number of the other great pros, Sharif Khan and squash, in a competition, and it was great. And it benefited me, but it also benefited racquetball hugely. We got on the map as being really sort of like, hey, legitimate athletes that can compete with other athletes, which is something I'm very proud of. I also extremely benefited by my notoriety about a lot of celebrities that wanted to play with me. So over the years, I got to play with people such as the comedian John Candy, Johnny Carson, Heather Locklear wanted to play with me.
How about the females?
And I swear this is, I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't want nobody to repeat it. I swear this is the truth. I asked her out on a date when she was there to give me an award. She said yes. We made a date for the following Saturday. She lived in LA. I lived in San Diego. I was a no-show.
Wow, you heard it here live on Mike D TV. A no-show for Heather Locklear. He left her hanging.
And another one of my highlights that a lot of people get a kick out of is that I got to play racquetball and teach racquetball to Elvis Presley a couple of different times, which was a huge thing. Elvis went from being really involved in martial arts to falling in love with racquetball, to where he built a court in Graceland that is still there today. So if you do go to Memphis, you have to go to Graceland. I don't care if you want to see Elvis, but you've got to go see the court, because he had a court built right there on Graceland. And it's no telling what could have happened to the sport. He would really love the sport and wanted big things for the sport had he not passed away. There's 3 events that I wish you all could have been to. One was the 69 Nationals in St. Louis, where I was 11 years old, where all the best racquetball players in the world came together, and nobody knew who the best player was or who was going to win. The other event was the 74 Outdoor Nationals out in California, Orange County, to where it was the first time all the indoor pros came together with the outdoor pros. And it's funny that, you know, here today, Rocky Carson is sitting over there, and I remember his father and his uncle being like the best team in 74. And you want to know how Rocky Carson's father looked? Exactly like Rocky Carson, but without hair. And the other event I would like you to have been to is the 2004 first beach bash that was here. And this was the brainchild of a real good friend of mine, where I said, you know, I said, Scott, I said, why don't we try to go to those roll-off courts that have a one-wall event? And Scott said, well, why don't we try to come up with something and invite all the different racket specialties to come together. Racquetball, one-wall paddleball, and the paddle tennis. And from there, with the help of Wally, who was open-minded enough, because before then, it was only paddle tennis on these courts, he eased us in to come here and to play, which has started us, you know, started and made the event what it is today, which is incredible. Now, I want to say one thing, and this is to the older tennis generation. I've heard some rumors and a petition about the color changing of these walls, of the front of these walls. Let me tell all of you, with respect, we are visitors, invites, and guests to these courts. And we do not have any kind of, like, even if our popularity of playing racquetball is more than the tennis, the paddle tennis, they are the ones that should dictate the color of the court, and if they don't want the color changed, we should be happy that they allow us to come and play on these hollow courts. Just my little commentary. My little commentary. Keep it to yourself. I want to acknowledge just a few people in my career that were very, very important to me into my development. And let me just say this, as far as indoor went, you know, my mother taught me how to play the game, tutored me the whole way until I got to a certain level and then let me play. But in outdoor, and this goes for all of us in outdoor, outdoor is a self-created game. We all learn to ourselves. We all came out.
We'll be back right after these messages.